Hello! How are we? I enjoyed the whoop from whoever that was from. I'd like more of that. Thank you for coming. I've had my briefing. It's not Song for Lincolnshire. It's Write a Lincolnshire Song. You made that first mistake. And I'm not allowed to shout, "Hello, Spalding!" because that would be very, very wrong. It's, "Hello, Louth!" That was okay. We'll get better, hopefully, as the night goes on. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. It's a pleasure to be back celebrating Lincolnshire songwriting again. It's something that I've been a huge fan of for many years, and it's something that I really, really believe in, and it's great to be back here with loads more new songs about Lincolnshire. Now, we're reunited at last. They said it would never happen. I also said it would never happen, but here we are. Just explain what's going to happen tonight.
Yeah, destiny. We're reunited, Jono. Tonight, so as I say, there are 4 songs and then 3 songs in the second half. Steve and Julie, do you want to know about their song now?
Well, why don't you tell us about that in a bit? You can tell us about that later on. So tell us what's going to happen over the next couple of hours. So we're going to have songwriters coming on and telling us a bit about their songs.
There's several trios tonight, so Jono will be chatting to the songwriters, and everyone else will be getting in position. I say it's only 7 songs, but it actually, the way that it was shortlisted, there were 8 songs that really stood out, and then there was a batch of 5 songs where they all got the same point. So it would have been 13, which is too many for us, because we have to be out by 10 o'clock. There are judges sat amongst you in the audience, 4 judges who will be making notes as everyone goes along, and then afterwards there will be a break. There'll be 2 breaks actually. There'll be a break after 3 songs, and the bar will be open, and then there will be the second part of it, and then the judges will go to their chambers in the back and fight it out as judges do, and then about 9:30ish they will be back and will be handing out the winners' prizes, and that would be fantastic.
Always the exciting bit, and I imagine we'll have a new winner again this year at Write a Lincolnshire Song. We'll find out who that will be in the next couple of hours. Shall we get on with some music? Get off. Come on. Let's make some noise for our first act tonight. It's the Thompsons with a song written by Stuart Thompson. Greetings.
Yes.
Now, I should say, welcome back to Write a Lincolnshire Song. Now, just explain when you were here last.
30 years ago, I think, the first year that it was done, I wrote a song about the Lincolnshire flood, and I haven't done anything else since then, till now.
Oh, so this is your first time back since 1992?
That's correct, that's correct.
But you're not on your own?
No, I've got my 2 sons here. Far end is James on the bass, this end is Richard on the squeeze box.
Do you perform together a lot?
No, never.
Never? Is this a first?
Well, pretty much. We got together last weekend to rehearse.
How did those rehearsals go? Has there been any family arguments?
Oh, they went very well, which is why we're now worried that it won't go so well tonight, but there you go.
Well, let's hope we don't see the breakdown of a family tonight. Tell us a bit about your song.
It's all about the demise of the local dialect. We are all yellow bellies, meaning that we were all born and raised here. And we used to hear the dialect quite a lot. In fact, when I was at school in the 60s, there was quite a lot of dialect. But as the older guys are disappearing, I'm afraid the dialect's disappearing as well. So this is a song calling for those that still speak it, carry on, don't be ashamed. Keep speaking the dialect.
Absolutely. Well, it's called Yellow Belly Boys. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the Thompsons.
It's a sound that's disappearing so fast, but a story that should be told. It's the sound of a man who worked on the fen, those who toiled on the march and the wold. They used words that came with the Norsemen 1,000 and more years ago. long-voweled words, not an H to be heard, all spoken a voice low and slow. So come on you yellow belly boys, whether you're at work or at play, you're the last few yellow belly boys, let's hear what you got to say. He said, come here off a young cobbly stones, come here off a young gate mate, else I shall go and get me gun, and y'all be over late mate. So come on you yellow belly boys, whether you're at work or at play, you're the last few yellow belly boys, let's hear what you got to say. I seen me mate the other day, and he says, was it you? I says, who? He says, you. I says, me. He says, I. I says, no, why? Well, it looked a lot like it. It's a sound that's disappearing so fast, story that should be told. It's the sound of the men who worked on the fen, those who toiled on the marsh and the wold. So come on you yellow belly boys, whether you're at work or at play, you're the last few yellow belly boys, let's hear what you got to say. All together. Come on you yellow belly boys, whether you're at work or at play, you're the last few yellow belly boys, let's hear what you got to say. That's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Keep that applause going for the Thompsons. Little bow. We've just done some maths. We've just worked out the next song that we're going to get from you will be 2052 at the rate you're writing, every 30 years. So 103. We look forward to that. Don't forget, we'll save you a parking space. Again, thank you for coming. Now, I didn't realise when I agreed to do this, there were all these cameras. Oh yeah, give him another round of applause. There we go. I didn't realise when I agreed to do this there were all these cameras here. I'm not used to this. Having worked on, if you don't know who I am, by the way, I am from BBC Radio Lincolnshire, which is where I normally sit in a box on my own, talking to myself. It's very weird having people looking back at me and cameras. You are going to be able to watch all of this back on YouTube, which is why wearing my best boots and scrubbed up as well as I could today. So you will be able to watch this. You'll be able to watch all of those acts that have been performing today in the next few weeks. Now, before we move on to our next act, I just want to bring Tom back on, who hopefully is still there. Are you there? Round of applause for Tom. I just want to give a bit of a special mention to Steve and Julie Wigley, who, as Tom said, are not very well today, so aren't here. But they, of course, were winners last year with one of their songs. A real shame they couldn't be here today. Just tell us what their song was about.
Yeah, song 16 Buffaloes, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, I was perplexed as anybody, but when Steve phoned me this morning, he said, we played in Crowland, and a lady told me about this story in Crowland. So it then clicked. In 1947, when there was the big floods, the riverbank burst, and it was a big burst in the River Welland, and it flooded quite a bit of the area around, and they filled in the bank with 16 buffaloes, which were ex-World War II personnel carriers, and then piled some mud over the top. So that is the story, because lots and lots of people have said to me, 16 buffaloes, we don't have buffaloes in Lincolnshire, but there they are in the bank of the River Welland in Crowland.
We just wanted to give them a special mention, and I know they will be watching this on YouTube in the next few weeks, so everyone give them the biggest round of applause you can. We miss having them here, but I can tell you what, I bet you they're on this stage next year, because they are very prolific songwriters. Right, let's introduce our next musician. And again, someone who is no stranger to this contest, someone who has been writing songs about Lincolnshire for a long time. Make some noise for Mark Ashworth. Come this way. Come this way, I need to chat to you first. Now, I said this, you are no stranger to whatever we want to call this, Write a Lincolnshire Song for Lincolnshire, because you've won before.
I have, yes. And it was a great honour to win. I think we were discussing before, it was back in 2010.
Can't quite remember, not etched on the brain, but we around there. And songwriting something you do a lot?
I try to. It's a slow and painful business. Not as slow as the gentleman before, obviously. I get more than one song every 30 years, but it's something I try and do a lot.
And writing songs about Lincolnshire, is it something that comes quite easily?
Songwriting never comes easily. No. But there's so many different interesting things about Lincolnshire that you can find to write a song about. So it's just finding something that catches your imagination.
So what have we got this year then? Tell us a bit about your song.
Well, this song, it's about the Humber keels, which were sailing barges that used to carry a huge amount of cargo on the inland waterways. Used to go all the way from the Humber down into the rivers and the canals. I was fascinated by how versatile these boats were, getting all the way from a huge great river estuary into tiny little canals right into the centre of towns and cities like Lincoln.
Well, another fascinating story. I'll let you get in place. Everyone make some noise. Mark Ashworth with Keel Ahoy!
Trade, sail for the open river, a horse for the towpath haul, skipper and mate to earn their freight when they heard the wharfman's call. Keel ahoy, come ahead, captain, with that keel. Keel ahoy, Captain, are you there? The anther bee, the comet, and many more besides rode with the sloops and billy boys on the heaving Humber tides. 50 tons to load and stow, timber, coal or grain, running red sand up the river, blew Billy back down again. Keel ahoy, come ahead, captain, with that keel. Keel ahoy, captain, are you there? Sail gave way to steam, it seems. All gave way to rail. As no anchor holds against that tide, progress will prevail. No place for a square rigged sailing barge, no world of speed and steel. White sails on in the sunset are the ghost of the Humber keel. Keel ahoy, come ahead, captain. keel ahoy. Captain, are you there? Captain, are you there? Captain, are you there?
Right, we're going to have a break in a few minutes because we were meant to have 4 songs. We've got 3, but we've got one more to come in just a minute. I do just want to mention, before we move on, our amazing judges this evening who have given up their time to be here, listening to these songs, going to judge these songs, and find. I mean, it is a difficult job. It is a really difficult job that I have done before. I had to judge last year, and it is really, really challenging to pick between all of these songs. So I just want to mention Dave, George, who is first time judging. Dave, I was going to call you a veteran judge. I don't know if that's rude. Experienced. We're going to go with that. Experienced judge, well known in the folk world. George Smith from BBC Introducing in Lincolnshire, and my car share buddy today. Was just talking for 45 minutes. He's judging for the first time. Sue Houston from Grimsby Folk Club, and Andy Lenton, who won a few years ago Song for Lincolnshire. Great to have Andy with us as well. So give a round of applause to our judges. Should have warned you, there's a lot of round of applause today. That's kind of how we do this thing. Do you want some more music? Excellent. Let's introduce our next musicians. Barry Bray, Roger Sadler have written this song, but performed by Peasants Revolt. And we'll grab Barry. Again, Barry, I keep saying this, someone who has been, not on this stage, but on a Song for Lincolnshire, Write a Lincolnshire Song stage before. I mean, the atmosphere here, seeing all these musicians with their songs about the county, it must feel really good to be part of that.
Yeah, it is. It is good, yeah. Yeah, bit scary as well, but it's good.
They're a friendly crowd. The good thing is the lights are so bright I can hardly see you. So it doesn't matter if you've been mean about me or not. I'm not bothered. Tell us a bit about your song this year.
Yeah, the song is called Brass Buttons, and basically it's based around the Vine Hotel in Skegness. And there is a story, and I think it sounds as if it's true, or a lot of it's true. In the Vine Hotel in 1902, they were doing some refurbishments, and they knocked a wall out. The builders knocked a wall out in the kitchen area, and they found a skeleton in there. And on the skeleton there was a uniform, and on the uniform, or what was left of it, there were some brass buttons, but they weren't ordinary brass buttons. They were brass buttons that bore the royal insignia, which meant that probably it was Customs and Excise or a revenue man. Now, if you go back further, about 200 years ago, the sort of the turn of the 18th century, there was a lot of smuggling in the Skegness area. And one of the favourite haunts of the smugglers was the Vine Hotel, believe it or not. And there were 2 quite infamous smugglers who were mentioned in the song. But as well as that, around about that time, believe it or not, a revenue man who was based in Boston but had come over to Skegness to investigate the smuggling, he went missing. He disappeared. And in fact, the last place he was seen was in the Vine Hotel. So I think they're pretty certain, putting 2 and 2 together, that it might be him that was walled up. And the song is called Brass Buttons because brass buttons were the thing that really more or less proved that it was the revenue man.
Another fascinating story. Again, one we've not heard before. I'm looking forward to hearing this one. Good luck with it. Give a huge round of applause to Peasants Revolt.
We're on the beach. It's a dark, moonlit night. What's over there, mate? That's the schooner we're after. She's over yon. There's a rowing boat coming out of it. It's full of barrels, backer and gin. That's for us. Let's go and get it. Hang on. There's a revenue man. Where is he? What shall we do with him? Slit his throat. What shall we do with him then? Brick him up in the vine.
John Hewson, he was a tailor, and he lived in Anderby. He took to smuggling baccy and gin, and he left his family. He robbed a man in Sleuthby, took his watch and then his life. They never found a body, and they never found the knife. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They'd light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the Vine, where brass buttons they did shine. James Waite, he took to smuggling, and the Coast Guard knew him well. In Ingermells they seized his boat. He wished he'd gone to hell. James Waite, he was no stranger to lawlessness and strife. He left his cosy cottage, took up the smuggler's life. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They'd light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the Vine, where brass buttons they did shine. The revenue man from Boston, he came to Skegness town to seize a load of baccy and gin and to track the smugglers down. Dutch cutters, they lay off the shore, their contraband on board. The smugglers in their tiny boats, they rowed the booty ashore. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They'd light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the Vine, where brass buttons they did shine. 100 years or more passed by, and some builders they did find a skeleton backed up behind the wall of the Vine. The uniform was standard, brass buttons on the vest. They weren't the smuggler's buttons, for they bore the royal crest. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They'd light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the Vine, where brass buttons they did shine.
Right, let's crack on then with part 2 of Write a Lincolnshire Song. And our next act, let's be honest, are the best dressed of the day. They've made quite the effort. Make some noise for Jim Ross and the Woolly Jumpers. I have to say, what do we make of the jumpers? Good choice? They didn't sound massively convinced, I'll be honest. That wasn't what the reaction I was expecting. So who have you got with you today?
This is William, my son, and this is Emily, my daughter.
What is it with all these family bands? I asked this question earlier, exactly, round of applause for another family group. What are the rehearsals like in your household then?
Always very calm, we always get along absolutely perfectly. We don't disagree about anything, and we just really, really enjoy it.
That's how you lie, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you do it. And have you performed together a lot?
Yes, quite a lot, and we are available for weddings, opening ceremonies for the World Cup, first, what is it, Prime Minister's, new Prime Minister's parties, etc.
Let's not go there. We're on YouTube. We don't want to do that. Now, tell us a bit about your song.
Our song is called The Grantham Oak. It's about a very big tree called the Grantham Oak, which is quite near our house, which we go past. Emily worked out I go past it approximately 16 times a day to go to nursery and work and all these other things.
Emily needs a hobby. I think that's fair.
I think so.
And did you wrote this on your own? Was it a collaboration?
I wrote it on my own with inspiration from my family.
Excellent. Really looking forward to this. Make some noise for Jim Ross and the Woolly Jumpers.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. On the eastern side of Belton Lane, in the north part of the town, 100 feet into the air, more than 20 feet around. Your leaves take CO2 and light to photosynthesize, to make the precious oxygen we need to stay alive. Tons and tons of timber stand as proud as you can be. From a tiny acorn here you've grown since 1483. A myriad of memories lie buried deep inside of the people who have trod this ground, how they've lived and died. Long live the Grantham Oak, the tallest all around. There'll be many changes in this world before this tree comes down. Grammar school's most famous pupil carved upon a wall, his signature as customary clearly in the hall. You saw Isaac being bullied by a bigger, stronger lad. Poor Isaac, he was so lonely. Poor Isaac, he was sad. So, to show the world that he was strong, he studied every day. Philosophy, astronomy, yes, this would be his way. An authority and scholar, the brightest in the land. He changed the laws of science, on his giant shoulders we all stand. Long live the Grantham Oak, the tallest all around. There'll be many changes in this world before this tree comes down. First from 1914, then again from 39. You watched as brave young soldiers marched along the road in line, from Belton Estate to take a sip before they went to war. How often did those young men think they might return no more? 400 men were paid 1 shilling for an hour to build, in memory of those who fell and who are fallen still. The Wyndham Park Memorial, lest we should ever forget. It's a lesson worth remembering with sadness and regret. So long live the Grantham Oak, the tallest all around. There'll be many changes in this world before this tree comes down. You watched as Maggie Hilda walked from Grace's shop to school. Who'd ever thought she'd be the one to go changing the rules? She saved her weekly pocket money to help a refugee to come all the way from Germany to stay with her family. And when at last she came to be the leader of her land, she made some rules not even her best friends could understand. Her reggae legacy stands staring on St. Peter's Hill. Or in 500 years from now will it be standing still? So long live the Grantham Oak, the tallest all around. There'll be many changes in this world before this tree comes down. So when we think about the future destiny may bring, Will our leader be a president, a tyrant or a king? Will the world get hotter? Will the weather settle down? Will the Grantham Oak stand 500 more years in this town? So if you find you're walking past the Grantham Oak today, bend down, collect an acorn, plant it deep, and then one day another tree may take its place, and then another song, and may this beautiful and mighty oak live on and on and on. So long live the Grantham Oak, the tallest all around. There'll be many changes in this world before this tree comes down. Here's to you, you Grantham Oak, standing high and standing proud. There'll be many changes in this world before this tree comes down. Hey! Thank you.
Come on, keep that applause going for Jim Ross and the Woolly Jumpers. And you can buy their exclusive range of merch on the Jim Ross and Woolly Jumpers website. You can't do that. You can't do that. I can't remember. I'd give a plug from where you got your jumpers from. I can't remember. Are we enjoying ourselves? 3 more songs to go, and then the judges have got the really difficult task of trying to work out who is the winner of this year's Write a Lincolnshire Song. Let's get our next group on. Our next group, with a song written by Patty Vetter and Dave Smith, performed by Patty, Dave, and Tony. Good evening.
Good evening.
Now, this is familiar territory for you. Of course, Patty and you guys performing together a lot, and you've performed all over the place with your band. For anyone who doesn't know, just tell us a bit about you.
No. No, I want to talk about the song, actually.
I'm going to ask you about the song. Well, all right, I'll ask you about the song then. Tell us a bit about the song that you're going to perform today.
Well, it's interesting that the first act talked about the Great Flood of '53. I was reading a book that I'd found in the Spalding Gentlemen's Society Museum, and it was called The Flood of 1953 Without Warning. And as it's the 70th anniversary of the storm next year, we thought we'd write a song about it. So 50 years, did you say it was 40 years or 30 years that you'd written a song about the flood? So we're going to update one.
And what's the songwriting process like? Who does most of the songwriting? Is it, again, a collaborative effort?
Yeah, we did it really easily, didn't we? I mean, it just sort of, we got together one afternoon, decided that we wanted to write 2 songs, and we wrote them. Just like that.
Do you find that? Do you have sort of occasions where some songs just come really quite easily and then other ones take a lot more time to try and get off the mark?
Well, Dave's the songwriter. This is the first song I've ever written, actually. So, you know, Dave's the songwriter. He's brilliant.
Excellent. I got a nod when I said, are some of them more difficult to do? I got a definite nod. Well, I look forward to this. Take it away. 1953, Patty, Dave, and Tony.
In 1953, a deadly alliance of land and sea endeavored to sweep the East Coast clear of everything Lincolnshire folk held dear. Poor Lincolnshire lads and lassies, as the storm around them crashes, they tried so hard to save their neighbours, but death still came despite their labours. In Suffolk, Mablethorpe and Anderby Cree, the storm threw its vengeance upon the weak. In Chapel Point and Sutton-on-Sea, never saw it coming, could not flee. 600,000 tons of sand were washed upon the streets inland. Some were sleeping, some were dancing, and some were somewhere else romancing. Poor Lincolnshire lads and lassies, as the storm around them crashes, they tried so hard to save their neighbours, but death still came despite their labours. The storm raged on around the coast. Poor Yarmouth and Cromer lost the most. Innocent and unwary drowned, we now stand on hallowed ground. Poor Lincolnshire lads and lassies, as the storm around them crashes, they tried so hard to save their neighbours, but death still came despite their labours. In the year 1953, a deadly alliance of the wind and the sea proved that Mistress Mother Nature is our keeper and creator.
Thank you.
Keep the applause going for Patty, Dave, and Tony. I thought Tony was going towards the trophies then. I thought he was helping himself. We've got to wait for that bit. The judges will be deliberating very, very soon, but we've got a couple more songs to get on with. Let's just move on to our next song. And it's a duo. Anyone who's been to this event before will know very, very well. They are previous winners. I'm getting told off, I've got to look at the camera. They are previous winners of Song for Lincolnshire, and it's great to have them back on this stage here in Louth today. Please make some noise for Ian and Michelle. Now, surprisingly, Ian isn't our nominated speaker, which shocks me. Oh, you're here, though. You want to chat? This is very unusual, Ian. Again, previous winners, and you won on your first appearance at Song for Lincolnshire. Was it 2015?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was, 2015. It's Balding, I think.
Yeah, it was in Boston, yeah. And anyone who is on the sort of local scene will know you because you are quite busy performers, aren't you, these days?
Yeah, we gad about, but we've moved to Suffolk, so we gad about a bit less frequently. But, you know, when we come up, it's a kind of cyclical thing.
and why Lincolnshire? Why are you still enjoying writing songs about Lincolnshire? You say you don't live here. What is it about this county that keeps drawing you back when it comes to songwriting?
Because we miss it, Jono. We sort of drive up from Suffolk and it's like driving home. And then we drive home and it's like driving home. So, you know, it's just a bit hard. So we haven't really left. We keep popping back like a bad smell.
Well, it is the best county in the world, as we all know. And you two have a real talent of finding stories that we haven't heard before, finding quite unusual stories that haven't been told in songs before. What are you singing about this year?
Well, this year we're singing about live music, really, and about the music scene in Lincolnshire, which we were part of as the pandemic hit. And then we moved during the pandemic, which wasn't a good plan. And then you find you're just sitting in your living room on Zoom, singing to a screen, and suddenly live music isn't the same anymore. But then we came to Leadenham.
And the pandemic, I know, for so many musicians was difficult, but music was a big part of it for a lot of people, wasn't it? And it was one of the big sort of mechanisms to cope with the pandemic and being inside, that you were able to join these groups and sing.
Oh, it absolutely was. I think if it hadn't been for technology, I was genuinely quite worried about the oral tradition and folk music, because if you can't go and sing to people or with people, it kind of, what's the point and where would it end? So yes, it was quite a... The song, when I first started writing it, was quite a dark, miserable thing, as usual. But then, as I say, we went to Leadenham last year, and it was such a magical day. And maybe it was because we were missing you all so much, I don't know. But anyway, we were sitting there listening to some friends singing and sitting with other friends listening. And I just thought, yeah, I know what I need to write about now.
Well, a very apt title for the pandemic, Tears and Memory. Make some noise for Ian and Michelle.
The music of our county flows from centuries long past. Shared at meets and sessions all around the homely hearth. To sing in the stables, in the yard and in the hall, in the orchards and the fields. They raised their voices one and all. They sang of the love and the passing years. They sang of death and scandal. They sang at work, they sang to cheer. They sang with the babies to dandle. They were singers of the old songs and writers of the new. They used to play the old tunes to dance or listen to. And the ancient songs of Lincolnshire, from marshes, wolds and fen, would take root in their memories to re-emerge again. A storm, a tempest, which killed both young and old. We hunkered down for safety, and we put our lives on hold. No more sessions at the pub, no place to sing or play. In our living room we learned to Zoom and awaited better days. We sang of the love and the passing years. We sang of nature's graces. We worked from home, felt so alone, and missed familiar faces. But as the storm began to wane, we assembled once again. Young William gave us a place to play, so to Leadenham we came. We sang once more in the stables, in the yard and in the hall, in the orchards and the fields. We raised our voices one and all. We sang of hope, of love and loss, of the friendships that sustained us. We sang of the passing of the storm and the many ways it changed us. We are singers of the old songs, we're writers of the new. We're players of the old tunes to dance or listen to. The ancient songs of Lincolnshire, from marshes, wolds and fen, would take root in our memories to re-emerge again. So just like Joseph Taylor, who breathed life into each song, from the northern ridge to the southern fen, we'll keep our music strong. And as we sing like the man in the hat who sang of Vincent's flowers, our songs will rise like the dragonflies and dance away the hours. They'll drift along through brightening skies, live on inside our hearts. When we hear the songs carried on the breeze, we'll know we've played our part. We'll sing of life and the changing world. We'll sing the verse and chorus. We'll sing of those who went before and the music they left for us. We'll sing of hope sing of the friendship music brings as we walk our path through life. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Applause coming for Ian and Michelle. I just want to take a moment while Ian untangles himself. God, shaking legs. Go on, can you make it? Do you want a hand? Come on, dear. We'll get you off the stage. There you go. Michelle will look after him now. Now, I just want to take a moment before we bring on our final finalists, just to say a big thank you as well to everyone who has written a song for this year's contest. And of course, you know, we're hearing 8 of the songs, or 7 of the songs here. We should have been hearing 8 of the songs here this evening. But of course, there are so many other songwriters who've done an amazing job writing songs that weren't able to be performed here tonight, but are still part of this amazing heritage of music that we have in Lincolnshire. Let's give all of them a round of applause. I told you I was going to keep getting you giving round of applauses. And again, the real success of music and of folk music in Lincolnshire is shown, and I mentioned this earlier, by the amount of folk music shows we have on the radio as well, which is a real joy to be a folk fan, to be living in Lincolnshire, and to know there are so many places you can hear folk. And as I mentioned, Tom is on Lincoln City Radio every Friday at 9. You've got Alan as well, Alan Ritson on Lincoln City Radio, and Tim on BBC Radio Lincolnshire with 2 Walkers Folk. So if you are a fan of folk music, do keep listening to those shows. Let's get our final finalist on today. And I have to say, Matt Tango Ellaby, who is up next, is after my crown for the snazziest shoes in Louth. Let's check them out. Everyone give a round of applause for Matt. Make sure you get that on your cameras. We want to get these shoes on there. We've got to move together, get the shoes on there. Matt, absolute pleasure to have you with us today. This is your first time at Write a Lincolnshire Song.
It is indeed, yes. I'd been intending to write a song for the competition for more years than I care to remember, and I actually got around to it this year.
But you are someone who performs all over the county. I see your name popping up on posters all over. Where are some of the places we can often catch you?
I'm usually camped out in Lincoln, but we've been all over the county with either as a solo artist or playing in the Curiosity Band. We've played here before. We've played all across the county, everywhere.
Excellent. And songwriting, are you quite a prolific songwriter, or is it a bit of a slower process for you?
I didn't used to be. I was a very lazy songwriter. And then a couple of years ago, when we had nothing to do, I wrote quite a lot of songs. And then this year, that's carried on. I've sort of... my name's Matt, and I have a songwriting problem.
I don't think you're the only one in this building. Don't worry, you're amongst friends. Tell us a bit about your song that you've written for today.
I grew up in Lincolnshire. I was born at one end of the River Witham. I was dragged up at the other end of the River Witham. And I've spent, up until recently, I've just moved off a narrowboat, but I spent 9 years living on a narrowboat at various points in between on the River Witham.
That is cool.
And one thing I found growing up is that a lot of the place names in Lincolnshire don't tally up with the place names you hear in popular music, and it can be a little difficult to associate with that. And so if you want to be the change that you want to see in the world, if I want to hear Lincolnshire place names in songs, I'm the one who's got to write them in. So that's what I've done.
And so what's your song called?
It's called Lazy Witham Blues.
Excellent. Look forward to this. I'll let you take your place. Come on, final time we've got to do this. One huge big round of applause for Matt Tango Ellaby.
Lazy Witham Blues, sitting on the grand sluice, tight on sunburn, listen to the bird songs on the radio, sing of places they know, all the places here, they sound kinda weird. Well, you sit on the bank, play your guitar, boy, you grew up and now you're such a big star, and the whole world's listening to your Lazy Witham Blues. Lazy Witham Blues, breaking in my new shoes, dream of Carolina, at Sweet Home Alabama while I'm stuck in Tidco, going broke with the old folks when you got plenty. Hold, getting old, where you sit on the bank, play your guitar. Boy, you grow up and then you'll be a big star, and the whole world's listening to your lazy rhythm blues. Jack Daniels, Mississippi, Tennessee, Sun City, Big Apple, Cherry Cola, New York, South Dakota. While I'm sitting in a wasp nest, knocked and fan, do it again. Snitter B, Sandy Hayes, talking about the better days. Well, you sit on the bank, play your guitar. Boy, you grow up and then you'll be a big star, and the whole world's listening to your lazy rhythm blues. Blues, I'm leaving here for somewhere new. Whole world calls to me of places you will never see. Of Berlin, Quito, Rotterdam, Tokyo, Cape Town, LA, a new place every day. Stand with your band, play your guitar. Boy, you grew up and now you're such a big star, and the whole world's listening to your lazy rhythm blues. Well, you stand with your band, play your guitar. Boy, you grew up and now you're such a big star, and the whole world's listening to your lazy rhythm blues. Well, the whole world listens to your lazy rhythm blues. Thank you very much.
Right then, here we go. This is the bit that we've all been waiting for. Welcome back to Write a Lincolnshire Song. It is the exciting bit, it's the stressful bit, it's the bit that I think we all slightly dread, where we find out who has won this year's contest. As I said, we've had 7 amazing finalists on this stage tonight. Of course, we were meant to have Steve and Julie as well. Special mention to Steve and Julie, who aren't very well today and couldn't be with us, but I'm sure they will be back next week. Next week? Should we do it again next week? So I'm busy. We'll do it again next year. How about that? So let's bring on our judges for this evening. We've got Dave, we've got Sue, we've got George, and we've got Andy. Welcome, welcome. Now, Dave, if you want to come to the... let's bring you... Are we happy with that, Mr. Cameraman? Excellent. Now, Dave, you are no stranger to this, and it also doesn't get any easier, does it?
I think I've only missed one in 30 years or
Really?
something like that. We were away one year. Other than that, I think I've done it every year. So if I don't know the system by now, then nobody does.
You know the system better than anyone, I think, Dave. Again,
I had a troublesome judge last year.
No comment. Now, I want to just point out, and I mentioned it a few minutes ago, it surprises us every single year that the songwriters who enter keep delivering stories and stories that we have never heard before.
Yes, and I'm partly on this panel, or was put on this panel, because I'm supposed to know about Lincolnshire, and yet I have learnt stories tonight, fascinating stories. We've just said in the judging, this is a good one because we want to go and find out more about this song now, because that's fascinated us what we've heard. Yeah, and every year. Of course, there's always the same themes that come back, and because they're Lincolnshire, and we're asking, but then there are themes that you think, blimey, I never knew that.
But what is interesting is the same theme might come back, but the interpretation, the song that gets delivered, is totally different.
Yes, and I mean we've had some things that happen where year after year we've had the same theme appear, as you say, completely different. approach to it. We've had some new stuff this year. We've had some interesting stuff.
And of course, we're adding to this archive of Lincolnshire history that we are creating.
I know, and if you, I mean, it is perhaps a worrying thing that some of the songs that get into the clubs and become standards are not necessarily the winners of our competition. That's very interesting. The winners do well, and you hear them around the clubs. But you'll also hear things, oh crikey, that didn't get a placing, even though it was in the final. But there we go. That is because Lincolnshire songwriters just keep writing Lincolnshire songs, and you can't stop them.
Exactly. Well, we're dragging this out. We're going to get to the bit we're all waiting for now. How hard was the judging process this year?
It was hard, but I can't show you this sheet, but we were in fairly good agreement. There's sometimes blood and unpleasantness out there, and there was
I'm not a judge this year.
There was no blood and unpleasantness. So yes, I'm pleased with our decision.
Okay, would you like to introduce your judges who we've got this year?
I've got a great team. Sue Houston, who's a mega folkie, but particularly because Sue is one of the organisers at Whitby Folk Festival, sees a lot of singers and hears a lot of songs. Andy Lenton is, if he'd written a song this year and got in, he couldn't be a judge, but he didn't write a song this year, and we like to bring in songwriters, Lincolnshire songwriters, because they know a lot about Lincolnshire songs. So it's great to work with Andy as a judge rather than having him on the stage. And George, because George is your colleague, of course, at Radio Lincolnshire, and George does introducing, and George sees a lot of new songwriters and bands, and knows a lot about how to get a good sound out. So it's been a good team to work with.
Excellent. Should we get on with it? Shall we work out who are runners-up? So now I need to point out we have 2 runners-up. This is how it's going to work. We've got 2 runners-up and we've got a winner. Just because we announced the first runner-up first, it doesn't mean you've come third. We've got 2 runners-up, but we've got to do. We can't do it all at the same time. So George, come to my special yellow microphone.
We could announce them both at the same time, just exactly the same time.
Don't take someone else's moment away from them. Now, your first time judging, how have you found it?
I'll be honest, it was really, really interesting to hear all of the songs and then discuss them through and really see how healthy the Lincolnshire songwriting community is. There's so much great music that's being written, and there were certain themes that were coming through as we were talking, but every single song really made me think and really just I had to keep dragging myself back to taking notes as I was listening because I was just enjoying it.
Right, get on with it. Let's find out our first runner-up for 2022.
I'm a bit disappointed because apparently Tom Lane won't skip to golden envelopes. So we've just got a piece of paper.
Budget, Tom.
So the runner-up that I'm going to announce is Tears and Memory, Ian and Michelle Wright.
Ian and Michelle, everybody!
Congratulations.
Come on up to claim your trophy. Ian and Michelle, no strangers to this stage collecting trophies at Write a Lincolnshire Song. Come on over, don't be afraid of us. George has got your trophy. Ian, how do you feel?
I feel really good, thank you very much. Yeah. It's been a really, really great evening. So many good acts, so we feel honoured to come runners-up. We feel honoured to get a place, because there's been such a high standard tonight. So thank you.
The cameraman loves the shot of that back of Ian's head. That's the most we've got out of Ian. That's the most we've heard from Ian. Everybody, one more time, Ian and Michelle! Excellent. If you want to wander off that way. That's probably the easiest way. Right, let's find out our second runner-up, and to introduce our second runner-up, it's Andy Lenton. Andy, well, now you know how to write a winning song. You know how to write a good song.
Apparently.
How different was it judging other people's songs, knowing that your song has been through that process? What was it like being on the other end of it?
It's very hard. It is. It's hard to critique someone else's songs. But it's a very good experience as well.
And songwriting yourself, just while you're here as well, songwriting, you still keeping busy doing?
Oh yes.
On the guitar, working on stuff all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
You better be on this stage again next year.
It's my therapy.
Absolutely. Right, come on, let's find out our second runner-up this year.
And the other runner-up is Keel Ahoy by Mark Ashworth.
Congratulations to Mark. Come on, claim your trophy. Keep that applause coming. Typically, Mark sat right at the back. Did you not expect to be up here, Mark? How do you feel?
That's great. I'm very pleased. As everybody said, it's been a night of great songs. So very pleased to be runner-up.
And we were saying earlier when we were backstage, we were saying, one of the great joys of this contest is the amount of songs that are written, the brilliant songs that have been written over the past. And again, this year, such a strong collection of songs.
Definitely, yes. There's a good few there that are going to get sung around the county, I'm sure.
Excellent. Go and claim your trophy and get ready for another awkward photo, another awkward pose. It's the worst bit when everyone's watching when you're having a picture done. He didn't want that. It's fine. We'll move on. Right. Let's get to the bit we've all been waiting for then. This is the 30th year of Song for Lincolnshire. We've missed a couple. Started in 1992, 30 years ago that we started this. And there have been hundreds and hundreds of songs. And as we heard from Dave, those songs performed at folk clubs, not just around Lincolnshire, but the entire UK, songs that have gone on to have a life of their own outside of this contest. And it's great to add loads more songs to that great historic collection all about Lincolnshire. And of course, with 30 years, we've had quite a few winners. Let's add another one, and it's your job, Sue, to come and announce our winner. But again, I need to ask you, how was the process?
Well, it was really interesting because it's the first time I've actually been on this side of it. And it's just interesting discussing it because you begin to see what, you see another side of it when you're talking to somebody else.
It's quite strange analysing songs. You're used to listening to songs, but to really delve into the sort of depth of them and the stories behind them is actually quite a strange process.
It is, yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, you've got the great joy of announcing this year's winner.
Right, and the moment you've all been waiting for, the winner this year is Brass Buttons. And it's written by Barry Bray and Roger Sadler.
By the sound of the applause, a very popular winner, Barry and Roger, Peasants Revolt, our performers. Come on over. How do you feel, Barry?
Delighted, really delighted. Yeah, unexpected.
And again, being on this stage, we've heard from the judges, from the performers, a great collection of songs. It must feel really nice to have even just been included in all of those songs. We've got to look at the camera.
Sorry. Yes, it is, yeah. And, really, I mean, I've been in other ones before, Song for Lincolnshire, and I think the standard this year was very, very good. I mean, it was. An honour to have sung beside the rest of you who took part. Really good.
Excellent work, and a really popular winner as well. You've now got to get ready. The bad news for you is you do have to perform again. That is the bad news. Nobody briefed you on that. You've got to do that again. So we'll let you do that. One more time for our winner with the amazing song, Barry Bray and Roger Sadler. Now, Dave, have you got anything else you want to say? Come on over to the yellow mic. We've got to get those guys ready.
Well, we've got to get them ready to come on. We've actually got to present them with their trophy because they haven't got their trophy yet.
We'll do that. Should we do that when they've performed? Should we do it at the end?
You can do that right at the end of their performance, yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Well done for reminding me. While they get ready, we'll get them on stage. I also want to bring Tom back on. Tom Lane, everybody. You've got the yellow mic if you want. It's a bit low for you.
My own microphone now. Wow.
Tom, again, 30 years ago, this contest started. A contest that is known across the entire musical world in Lincolnshire. As I say, one that has so many incredible songs. And performers as well, who maybe have had their first performance experience at one of these events. This year, another huge success.
Yeah, I think so. I think the great thing about it is that people sometimes write the song, and even if they enter the competition, it doesn't win or doesn't even get through to the finals, they sing the song and it becomes part of their repertoire, and then they start singing other Lincolnshire songs as well. They may not enter again, and so it's a fantastic thing. So it grows the corpus of Lincolnshire songs enormously.
And of course, this doesn't just happen. We don't all just turn up on a Thursday evening in October and everyone's here and everything's sorted. A lot of work goes into this, and I think there are a few people you just want to thank.
Yeah, I mean, it's enormous. I mean, the great thing about tonight is that so many people, it's been a terrible day weather-wise, so many people are here, so that's absolutely wonderful, the folk fans of Lincolnshire. That there is a bit of a committee, which we meet loosely, obviously Dave, Mary, who's out in the foyer, and Kate as well. Also, if I can mention them, I can mention Shirley, who's selling the CDs and the raffle tickets. And there's a whole load of people. Nigel and Terry. What about Nigel and Terry working hard in the bar? And stage managing tonight and doing it brilliantly, keeping out of the way when necessary. I don't know where he is now. Cullen Gaskell. Julian and his team doing all the filming. Neil doing the sound. Fantastic job on the sound, Neil at the back. And the staff of the theatre here, all volunteers, fantastic. Brilliant theatre, great people. And the man who's kept it all together, Mr. John O'Brien. And the boots. Right, I'm off, mate.
Thank you very much, and well done to Tom as well. One more time, Tom Lane. Right, that is pretty much it. We've got to present them with their trophy, and I do have some raffle tickets to mention right at the end as well. I'll try not to forget to do that. But again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you for supporting Lincolnshire music. I know we're all here because we love what all of you guys are doing, what all of the musicians who've been on this stage are doing. Keep it up. Keep writing songs about Lincolnshire, because it really, really is just amazing to hear all these stories. But we do have our winner. You've got to perform again. I'm really looking forward to this. Barry, Roger, Peasants Revolt, take it away.
It's a bit dark over there. I can't see nought. Look, it's over yon. There's a ship, 3-master. And it's got a rowing boat coming ashore. It's got all our booty. It's got barrels. Let's go and get her, boys. Hang on, customs man. What shall we do with him? Slit his throat. Where shall we put him? Let's prick him up in the vine.
John Hewson, he was a tailor, and he lived in Anderby. He took to smuggling bacca and gin, and he left his family. He robbed a man in Saloothby, took his watch and then his life. They never found a body, and they never found the knife. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They light the way from the sandy beach to the bar rooms of the Vine, where brass buttons they did shine. James Waite, he took to smuggling, and the Coast Guard knew him well. In Ingamells they seized his boat, and they wished he'd gone to hell. James Waite, he was no stranger to lawless lawlessness and strife. He left his cosy cottage, took up the smuggler's life. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they shine. They light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the vine, where brass buttons they did shine. The revenue man from Boston, he came to Skegness town to seize a load of bacca and gin and to track the smugglers down. Dutch cutters, they lay off the shore, their contraband on board. The smugglers in their tiny boats, they rowed their booty ashore. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the vine, where brass buttons they did shine. 100 years or more passed by, when some builders they did find a skeleton in uniform bricked up in the wall of the vine. The uniform was standard, brass buttons on the vest. They weren't the smuggler's buttons, for they bore the royal crest. Brass buttons on his tunic, in the smuggler's lamps they'd shine. They'd light the way from the sandy beach to the barrooms of the vine, where brass buttons they did shine.
Yeah, okay.
The music of our county flows from centuries long past, shared at meets and sessions all around the homely hearth. They used to sing in the stables, in the yard and in the hall, in the orchards and the fields. They raised their voices one and all. They sang of love and the passing years. They sang of death and scandal. They sang at work, they sang to cheer. They sang with the baby to dance.